So this is a tutorial on how to creating an interactive story with Scratch. So Scratch is an online program. You find it at scratch.mit.edu, and you need to log in, create an account, and then press the create. This leads you to your first program or whatever program that you have created. So this is the user interface, and I'm gonna go ahead and delete this sprite. Then I'm gonna go to the backdrop and this tab to add the 3 different backdrops that I'm gonna use for this scene. I'm gonna use a witch, Snow White's castle, and Snow White herself. Just like that. And I'm gonna rearrange them just by pulling them and deleting this one. So we have the castle, we have Snow White eating an apple, and we have the prince. First off, you need to adjust this image. You see it doesn't fit the frame, it's too small. So I'm gonna use this tool to mark it up and scale it so it fits. Just like that. Then I'm gonna name these because I'm gonna structure my program so I can find the things again. So this is the castle. It's a backdrop for the castle, and this is the witch, and this is the prince. Great. So now I have these 3 scenes, and then I'm gonna create some code for these. First off, the most basic part is what happens when I start the program. When I press this, what happens? So when the green flag is clicked, I need to broadcast a message, and that is the message of the first scene, which is the castle scene. And when I receive this message, so when this backdrop receive the castle message, it should change its looks so it goes to the backdrop castle like that. So when I click the green flag, it should change to this backdrop. Also, we need the other scenes, so I'm gonna go duplicate this one like that, and then I'm gonna create a new message, and it's called the witch. And when I receive the witch as a broadcast message, it should change to the witch scene like that. And I'm gonna create the last scene as well. When I receive the prince, it should change the backdrop to prince, just like that. So when I start the game, it should activate this one and broadcast the castle, which this one will listen to, just like that. Okay, so the next step is making the user navigate these. The user can't press these buttons, so I'm gonna use a sprite, and I'm gonna upload a sprite that I already found on the internet. It's an apple and it's a PNG, so you can see it's not squared. You need to find the PNG if you want your sprites to look like this. And I'm gonna scale it down to 25, just like that. So now I want, when you click the apple, I'm gonna change the scene to the witch's scene. So I'm gonna go to events, and when this sprite is clicked, broadcast witch, just like that. And it works already because this broadcast is received by this little code. I'm gonna go back to the apple code here because I want the apple to be shown in 2 scenes, the last one and the first one, to navigate to this. But here it's not necessary to be shown. So when I receive, and I'm gonna introduce a new command, it's called clear. Then I'm gonna say hide, and then I'm gonna put in an event here. It says broadcast clear, just like that. So I'm gonna start over. So when I press my apple, it will disappear. What happens here is that when I press the apple, when the apple is clicked, it will broadcast clear, so it will hide itself, but it will also broadcast which is changing the scene like that. But I want the apple to be shown at different points of time. So I'm gonna duplicate this code, and I'm gonna exchange the hide with the show code. And when I receive the castle, I will show myself, the apple will show itself, but also when I receive the prince. So this will hide itself unless it's needed, and it's only needed in the castle scene and in the prince scene. So let me just go ahead and cheat a little and go to the prince scene. The apple should show itself, but it doesn't. So when I receive prince, it's because nothing sends the prince. So I'm gonna cheat and send the prince request here. Hide, and like that. Now I cheat and broadcast the prince, and the apple is shown. And when we press the apple, it will go back again. Okay, now we have established one button to navigate between the different sources, but it's only shown in the first and in the last scene. So we need something else to navigate with. So when in this scene we need another thing to navigate. So I'm gonna use the prince's head to navigate to the last scene. I'm gonna upload a sprite, and it's this one. Oh, sorry, my mistake. You are actually gonna use this paint symbol because we need to edit it. So use the paint symbol, and then you're going to upload from here. Upload costume, and then whatever image you like. Now I have the option to edit this sprite, and I will do that by deleting everything else than his head. So now I make the outline. I want to move it so it fits in the middle with this. So somewhere in the ear, this little dot should be. And I'm gonna mark it with my marking tool again, and simply just move it here. Then I'm gonna zoom a bit in, and I'm gonna mark the outline of his head because it's kind of dark here. So I want it to show more clearly. I'm gonna change the color to white. And I think this size will be good enough. So now I'm satisfied with my sprite. I'm gonna go back to the code of the sprite, and it's empty right now, but I'm gonna steal from the apple because it's the similar code. So I'm just gonna drag it here, every bit of code in there, in there, in there. Great. And I'm gonna click it, and we can see if I navigate like this that the bits of code are hiding itself underneath itself like that. So I'm gonna order them. I want the clear to be first, and then when I receive prince. So this sprite is only going to show itself when we are at the witch. So that's where I want it to show itself. I don't want it to show itself any other time. So I'm gonna delete this one, and this one is right. And when it's clicked, it should not be broadcasting witch, but should be broadcasting prince. We want to go to the prince when this is clicked. So let's start from the start. You see, this should have been hidden. And why is it not that? It's because this one should be broadcasting clear. Like that. Great. Now I guess it works. So pressing the apple, and pressing the prince and pressing the apple. And I guess you can make another button that makes them go back. So now we got the basics set up, but now I want to add some sound to give it a bit of a better feeling. So we'll start with the apple, and it's like this. Go to the apple, go to the code for the apple, and then press the sound button and add sounds. I'm gonna press this button, and I'm gonna choose one from the library. This button. You can find a lot of sounds here, but I'm gonna search for the bite sound, like this. I'm gonna go back to code, and I'm gonna go to the sound and start sound bite. So when the apple is clicked, it will play the bite sound, like this. I think it adds a lot to the story that the elements that you're interacting with have sounds. Let's also add an introduction, so when I actually start the story, I'll know what I'm gonna experience. So I'm gonna go to the backdrops, and when clicking the green flag here, I'm gonna go to sounds again. This time I'm just gonna delete this. I'm gonna record my own sound. I'll see the screen, and when I press this button, I can record some sound. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess. And it already cuts there, and I would really like to cut there. So I'm just gonna press save, like that, and I can edit some of it. I can make it softer or louder, or even trim the edges if I want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna go back to code, and then again sound, and start sound recording. Let me just name this actually introduction, like that, and it has already named it here. So when I click the green flag, I will hear myself talking. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess. Okay, so I think you get the point that you can add sounds. Just beware that if you have a very long introduction and you do like this, there was a beautiful princess, the speak will continue into the next scene. So think about how long speeches you are gonna create. Also, you can add ambient sound, and I'm not gonna go through this code too much, but the basics of the code is that you can put a forever loop in that sort of looks for scenes that have that are named castle. So if the backdrop's name is called castle, then forever it would start a bird sound and wait a random amount of time. Let me just try this. Yeah. Once upon a time there was. This should say a bird sound, but maybe I should add the bird sound. Just a moment. Yeah, that's it. It couldn't find the sound. There it is. Once upon a time there was a beautiful princess. So now you get it. It would continue saying this tweet. Let me just stop that, because there's a forever loop here. So it would continue looking for this condition, and if you want to add ambient sound to the other backdrops, you can duplicate this and put it in here. And then of course you should look for the prince or whatever backdrop you have, and then of course put another sound in there. So that's the basics of creating a narrative. Good luck.